Hey there, everyone. It is Lisa Danforth, and I'm here with the lovely Laura Hill from Breezy Hill Marketing. Super excited for our conversation today. We're going to be talking about analytics and reporting and how we can use that to really build our business, build our reach, all of those amazing things. Laura, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Can't
Thanks
wait
for
to
having
meet.
me, Lisa. Glad to be here.
But before we dig in, I'm just going to share a little bit about Laura so that we can know why she is the expert here talking today. So, Laura has over 20 years in the sales and marketing industry, and she's an accomplished business development strategist with extensive experience in healthcare technology. You worked in that for a lot of years, didn't you?
I
In
did.
2012, Laura and her partner launched Breezy Hill Marketing, a digital marketing agency serving clients throughout the US. She utilizes her knowledge of strategic planning and the implementation process to achieve improved exposure and increased revenue for companies and nonprofits by working to build brand identity, craft an effective client facing messaging, and engage targeted audience in the sales process. So important. And those are the things I think so many of us, we sort of neglect and put to the back burner when we don't really know what we're doing. So
hmm
super important. Thank you again for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
All right. So let's talk reports, analytics, and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one of the things that we do with our clients out of the gate is really look at their data and understand their data so that we can really identify opportunities within the data and focus their programs on delivering results. And so I'm really love talking to people about your reporting, your analytics, and finding some of those hidden gems in there.
So much in there. I think so many of us don't actually even think about them. I just want to pause and say hey to Kate Payne. She says that we are live on our LinkedIn profile, which is something new, which I'm super excited about. Kate mentioned, I think the header of the LinkedIn profile is where we're live, which is really, really cool. So
Cool. That's
Kate, thanks so
great.
much for letting us know and joining us. I so appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Kate.
So, can you talk to me a little bit about the analytics and the reporting? Just go a little bit deeper so we can for those of us who don't really understand what it is, if you could describe a little bit more, because I know you said like our digital footprint, everything is the spokes of the wheel that comes to our
Mm.
website. Can you
hmm
talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're a digital agency. So we're always looking at what's happening online. That's where we're going to focus. And what we use as the backbone of our reporting is Google Analytics. So one of the things we do is we make sure that you have Google Analytics set up on your site, that it's working properly, and that you're utilizing the different tools within Google Analytics, including things like goals, having tracking goals on your site. So we'll work with you to look at that data and to start to see some of the trends that are happening on your site. So some of the things that we'll pay attention to are what's happening in terms of organic traffic. So, who's coming to your site because somebody put a search into Google and your site came up as a result and they clicked on it? Who's getting to you that way? I always use organic as sort of a barometer of the health of your site.
Mm.
So if your Google organic traffic is going well, if it's increasing month over month or year over year, then you're doing something right. Like that's a positive indicator. That means that Google thinks that you have something of value to people and they're serving your site up as a result. So that's one of the elements and one of the things that we look at when we look at the data and we use that reporting.
I love how you just said the barometer, right? So that really gives that visual so that we can know the importance of it.
Mm-hmm.
Are there a couple of different Google Analytic reports specifically that you like to use that you find to be most beneficial?
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the things that I really like, there's a really simple report for marketing purposes specifically that I use as sort of your get in the game report. And anybody who's worked with me will have heard me talk about this. We've written a blog about it. We reference it a lot because it's a great starter place. So, what it is it's a report under acquisition, and it's acquisition channels. And within acquisition channels, you are able to see a report that tells you by time frame, and you can compare year over year, month over month, however finite you want to slice and dice the timing. You can see all the channels within Google that are delivering data. And we have a blog about this on our website. It's a great report, but it's super simple.
Can I interrupt you really quickly? What is the name of the blog, just so that people can go to your site, which we'll share at the end? But
if we can share it at the end, because I actually don't have it at the tip of my
okay.
tongue. So the blog is Breezy Hill Marketing blog, but this report I'll have to circle back with you on that.
You can just post it in the chat afterwards.
That's
So
perfect. I'll do
thank
that.
you.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. Yeah. So this report will tell you which channels are delivering traffic. And when I think about marketing analytics and using reporting to find hidden opportunities and to begin to really learn your what's generating momentum on your site, this to me is like step one. Start here. So it tells you this is what's coming from organic. This is what's coming from direct. This is what's coming from paid, from social, from email, from referral traffic. It's a really nice, simple report.
Second one?
A second report I think that's really helpful is to go in, and it's less of a report, more of a filter, and it's to go into Google Analytics behavior and to look at where people are going on the site. What are your top landing pages? What content is valuable? So sorting your content and seeing which pages are most receive the most traffic, and then secondarily seeing where what the source of that traffic is super valuable. And things that come up from this, and when we talk to them about hidden opportunities, is a great example. So a hidden opportunity in looking at the landing pages, one that comes up a lot is about pages are frequently one of the top pages visited on a site.
Make sure it's good.
You make sure it's good, but you also make sure you have some hooks in there. If you have, if you offer, for instance, a 20-minute consultation, for instance, with somebody for free as a call to action on your site, you put that in your about page. Let them know. Right. It's a great one. And a lot of people really like it. Because you think you put contact us. It's like, I don't really want to contact them. I'm not really right. But if you say, I'll give you a free consultation, I'll give you a quick overview, I'll talk to you about what your business is, and I'll give you insight about your business and about what you can do for your business. It's a great way to get going. It's a great way to help someone that's very low pressure for both of you.
And knowing which pages people land on, does that give us the opportunity to then write more blogs or double down on that content so that we can expand our digital presence?
Yeah, that's great. So yes, exactly. So it tells you what's resonating for people, what's getting them to the site. And then you also can look at where they're landing on your site, but then you look at also how much time they're spending and what pages, where do they drop off? Where do they leave your site? Because maybe they got enough or it wasn't clicking for them. So you can then orient your content development around looking for opportunities on the pages where people are coming in and improving the experience on pages where you see people leaving but not converting. So it's a couple different things. It's really recognizing your user's experience and what's bringing them in, what's keeping them there, what gets them to leave. And you start to go, okay, well, we know that this key phrase in organic is sending people to this page. And when they get to this page, they stay on it, but maybe they don't continue. Maybe they don't go anywhere else on the site. Well, okay, then we're doing something right, but we need to keep flowing. We need to keep pulling them into the site and encouraging them to engage with us.
Absolutely. This stuff just blows my mind. It's just things that I don't naturally think about. I want to back up just a minute. You talked about, the slicing and dicing of time, and you can sort of do these different reports. What do you recommend for the duration of time to be observing? Is it a month? Is it 3 months, 6 months to really get a nice meta view of what's going on your site?
I traditionally look at 30 days, and I often will look at the discrete months. So the 1st to the 28th, the 30th, 31st, whatever it is. I often will look at the dates at the month itself compared to the prior month or compared to the prior year. One thing to understand about your business is how cyclical is your business. If it's like a real estate business is very cyclical. It's very influenced by the time of year. Some other businesses less so. And so you really need to think about, am I comparing my stats to year over year? Because it's, May for real estate, you really want to look at May for real estate. You want to compare those two, versus month over month, because my business is changing so much each month that 12 months ago isn't relevant. So I think sometimes it's thinking about, what are we comparing it to? And then I think 30 days is a really healthy chunk to look at. But I think there's also times where periodically you need to look at a trend. 12 months, you need to look at 90 days. You need to see what the trend lines are doing over a longer period of time. And I think it's important to periodically step back and look at a broader trend line and understand what's happening. So yeah, and I think anytime you have a question of the data, anytime the data sort of provides you with something that you don't understand, for instance, organic traffic going down is one of the questions that often gets people to stop and go, okay, what are the trend lines here? What's happening? That's
good,
when
right?
not good. That's when you stop and step back and you go, okay, is it declining over a 6-month period? Is it declining over a year? Or is this just a blip in the moment and we need to track it, but it's not a significant problem? And that's the big question always, is it a real problem, or is it a weird Google algorithm thing? And, we're going to do some work on the site and we'll be back in shape next month.
So I'm hearing you say, take a meta view, take a big picture view and the smaller picture view so that you can really get the consistency, but also compare apples to apples. Like you said, if it's
Yeah,
seasonal, you
it's a
don't
great
want
way
to
of
be
saying it.
comparing, one busy month and 2 months later you're going to be totally dead. To be able to compare those. How do you leverage all of this information that you're getting from the analytics, from all of the reporting?
Great question. And it's tricky sometimes. I think you identify what your resources are. So what do you have available to do something with this data? So for instance, if you're an organization that has an inbound marketing program, you're developing blog content, you are optimizing for search engine optimization, SEO, you're doing paid advertising, then you're using this data to influence those programs. And the people who are responsible for those programs are paying attention to this data and making changes based on the information you receive. It doesn't have to be every month they're making changes, but they're tracking this information and saying, okay, our Google ads are, we're not seeing as much traffic from them. We're not seeing the same conversions, what's going on. And we're using this data to help understand, how are people getting here, what's happening here, and what do we need to do differently?
So organic and paid, looking at those reports and leveraging those reports, which one would you say, if there is one that has more weight to it? Really focusing on the organic or focusing on the ads?
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a great question. So the way that I look at it, when you look at organic, you're thinking about search engine optimization. So you're saying, am I being found by my target audience for the things that they're looking for? Am I one of the search results coming up? And if not, then how do I develop content on my site, whether it's blog content, it's case studies, white papers, service pages, pillar pages? How do I develop content on my website that is valuable to that audience, so that I then become one of the things that's served up when they're searching for a solution? So that's organic. With paid, you're doing paid advertising on Google, and you have ad campaigns running. Typically, you have somebody who's managing that program for you, and you're tracking that information, and you're putting money out there. You're paying to have your materials seen. So there's a lot of weight on paid, because you're paying Google to promote those ads. So there's a lot of focus there. There's in a sense, there's a lot of skin in the game. And so there's a lot of focus on paid and making sure that the ads that you're running are impactful and that they're reaching their target audience. And it's tricky. It's not easy. They're competitive. There's a lot of there's a science to it, and to being good at it, and to doing a good job. And it's not always easy. So I think that in different ways, different people put weight on those two things. You also want to throw in there another category in that report is social. Social is a really strong player. Things like LinkedIn. Hello, LinkedIn.
We have a LinkedIn profile expert on with us right now, Kate.
Then Kate knows exactly what I'm talking about. LinkedIn is really an important player in this field, and paying attention to what's happening with the traffic from LinkedIn, whether you're doing a LinkedIn Live, or you're doing LinkedIn advertising, promoted content, or just organically posting on LinkedIn, really understanding what elements of LinkedIn you're using that are moving the needle for you. People in HR, people with a career focus, LinkedIn is huge and sends so much traffic. So I think social needs to be right up there as a category that gets a lot of attention, because it is such a powerful tool, and the ability to target within LinkedIn is so impressive. So yeah.
I love LinkedIn cases. Yay,
Mhm.
LinkedIn. She has taught me so much about LinkedIn. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, you're killing it. So go team.
Well, she was the one, you've got to get on LinkedIn Live, which is a lot of fun.
She's
And
right.
it has been a lot of fun. It's still fun. I was texting her before we went live, and I was like, I
Mhm.
still get nervous. I've been doing this for 9
Oh
years, and I
yeah.
still get nervous. But it is amazing just looking at the I mean, I don't do the actual analytics, but looking at the increase in reach and the likes and
Mhm.
the views and whatnot over time is inspiring. And it really shows you shows me, okay, what are the topics that seem to be very relevant for people these days?
Oh, I love that. That's cool. What are those topics? What are people really drawn to?
Well, I do a lot of marketing, digital media,
Mm,
digital marketing and whatnot, because especially during COVID, everyone was going online. You had to learn new things.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you have been slammed since last March. I know I have a few clients who are in the digital marketing arena, and it's just been wild. So it's wonderful to have experts like
Mhm.
you come on and share. How can you utilize your information better? How can you show up
Yeah.
differently? So I really
Right.
appreciate you showing up and talking today.
Oh, yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about the diversification of your digital marketing efforts, just so that we can have a view of the different areas?
Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Well,
Diversification?
diversifying your digital marketing efforts was something that we had talked about earlier. So really look at what is the importance of it? How important is it
Okay.
for us to take
Okay. Yep.
and diversify it?
Yeah, sorry, I paused there. Um,
Well, that's okay. I had to look
yeah.
at my notes too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, so, one of the things that we really look at is, so going back to this one first report we talked about, are all the different channels, the ways that people can find you online. Um, and when we think about those channels, the paid, social, organic, referral traffic. So, referral traffic is partner organizations thinking about sites that might, it could be directories that have you on their site. It could be other blog posts, people that you partner with talking about the work that you do and linking to your site. So, there's a lot of different ways that referral traffic can show up. Um, we definitely look at helping clients have multiple channels. So it's paying attention to your SEO, it's having a paid ad program, it's engaging in social media. And in social media, it's a really broad bucket, as we just talked about, but it can be paid media, or it can be organic content. And you really have a couple different options. There's several different options there. So you kind of need to think through which avenue works for you. I love Kate's point about video. Yeah, video is amazing. Yep, totally
definitely build
agree.
trust. Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, yeah, it's totally true. And using video on social, I think, is really impactful today. So for LinkedIn Live is a great example, but there are other types of video you can use. There are a lot of people that don't want to have their face associated, but want to get in the video game. So you can do a lot with taking content and slicing and dicing it and putting it into a video, and using music and using movement to help tell your story that doesn't require you being on video. And I think that's important too, because there's a lot of resistance about putting your face up there. And there's that is not the only way to do it. So that's something to think about as well. I'm also a huge fan of email marketing. So that's the other channel that I want to keep in the discussion. Email marketing is really powerful. It still has really high ROI. Most of our clients have some component of an email marketing program going, which we think is really beneficial.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Mm-hmm.
If it's one of the things that you're saying is incredibly important for us to
Mm-hmm.
do, and I have neglected it. So I'd
But
love
you're
to
good
know
at
more.
it. You're good at it. So you should go back to it because should is a terrible word.
Shoulding.
It'd be wonderful if you went back to it because you're really good at it. Email marketing. What I love about email marketing is super old school of me. So everybody take your way back machine and go back in time with me.
I'm older than you are.
Email marketing. You own your database, you own your
Mhm.
list, and your social media program, your page could go away. Somebody could hack it. It happens. I've heard about it.
I just got my
uh,
Facebook page hacked and I still can't get back
exactly.
in. So that's an excellent example. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. But email you own. And even as a world, as we get overwhelmed by email and we have so much email, we still get it. We still read it. I
Mhm.
still read it. Even the cold emails that come in, um, when it's a good email, when it's hitting what is my problem right now, I will open it. I will read it. I was reading an email last night while my daughter was riding, and it was a cold email. I've not talked to this person before, but she hit a point that was really interesting to me. So I read her email and I clicked on the link and I went to her website and I've now saved it because I will go back to that because it was valuable. And when I am at the point where I'm ready to hire someone for the service she was advertising, she is on my list.
That
So
is such a
that's
good
the
example.
power. That's the power. Yeah. So email is just super important, and even if it's hard to get people to open your emails, it's still important. The great thing is most of the email tools today have really great ability to do A/B testing, to try out different headlines. There's just really great analytics available to know what people are clicking on, who's clicking, who's opening, all of that. There's so much data. So back to data and reporting,
Right.
so valuable. Here
Good
we are,
job. Circle back. Full
right there,
circle.
full circle.
It is so true. I know I use Aweber and you can go in and who's
Mhm,
clicked, who hasn't, you can redirect the same copy with the same, different subject. There's so many different
mhm,
things that we can do to look at those analytics, those reports, and make sure that we're
mhm.
utilizing the material that we have at the highest level that we possibly can.
Exactly. And, when you going back to finding hidden opportunities, paying attention to who always opens my email. As sales
Mhm.
teams, are part of what they need to do is to find those opportunities to find the people who are maybe quietly out there but are interested. The person who sent me the email yesterday, if they don't notice that this is actually the second email of hers that I've opened, if she's not tracking that, like, I'm a future prospect. I'm a good candidate for her, probably a little ways down the road, but I'm a good candidate. And that's the kind of thing, the way that we have to look at it. We have to understand that, that there are these hidden opportunities,
Mhm.
and that they show up in the data. They show up in the multiple clicks, the multiple opens, things like that.
Can you talk a little bit? I'm going to go a little bit off target, not
Go
totally
for
for
it.
the analytics and the reporting, but segmenting your email list and the
Mm.
importance of utilizing that within the reporting and analytics and whatnot, just to again utilize it at the highest level.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I think it really depends on how you want to segment, and it depends on the tool that you use to segment. But I think understanding your users and their behaviors, and then communicating with them in a way that's meaningful for them. So, at a very baseline level, separating your customers from your prospects is an easy way of looking at that. Then, really responding to um, and creating triggers around open rates and what are they reading, and what are
Can
people
you
downloading.
can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Create
Mhm.
triggers around open rates. Can you talk about that? Because I'm not sure what you're saying.
Well, so maybe triggers around open rates isn't the way it was creating triggers around behaviors. So looking at what people are doing, and creating trigger activities around around behavior. So if you have somebody who is opening every email, that's an engaged user. And so the trigger might be to have a salesperson follow up with them, or the trigger might be to drop them into another email string that is a deeper down the funnel email string. That's something a little bit more tactical, steps you can take to achieve X based on this person's behavior. They're engaged with you. What you offer is interesting to them. So what's the next level down the funnel, and how do you get them that content? Does that make sense?
Totally. And it's very ninja. I love it. And again, it's all of those things that as a business owner, we don't always think of because we're doing all this other stuff. So it's wonderful to be able to highlight it and say, do I have time? Do I want to dig deep on this? Or should I reach out to someone like Laura Hill?
Yeah. That's a great point, though. I do want to say that everything we've talked about can be done at multiple levels. So it can be done at the top level. Like you can pay attention to data and make data-driven decisions about your marketing at the top level and not have to have an entire team to do it. You can go deeper and deeper and deeper, and there's so much opportunity, but don't shy away from this because your resources are limited. This information is super valuable and will help smaller teams as well as larger teams.
You may have answered this earlier, but where would you suggest that someone who has been wanting to look at the analytics and reports, they're not at the point that they can really hire someone as a team, where would you suggest that they start just gathering some data and setting up some guidelines?
I'm going to go back to my same report, and I would start by going and making sure you have Google Analytics on your site. I would look at this report. It's acquisition channels. Sorry, it's Google Analytics acquisition channels. Look at that report. Start there. And then I would, from there, consider adding goals to your Google Analytics so that you can start to measure those conversions on your site. I think those are two really solid actions that are just going to get you in the game.
You can set goals on the analytics site, right? So you're looking to achieve, right? So it's not just you with a piece of paper and
Absolutely. No, goals are an actual metric on analytics, and they're tied to your website. So you take some code from analytics and put it, it's something you have to do with your website. But you can set goals on contact forms, on phone number, people clicking on the phone number, so you can really be very specific in what you consider a conversion on your site. And you could have a goal for somebody who completes a contact us form and a goal for somebody who downloads a white paper. They're two different goals. So you can track those. And then once you have those goals, you can track where they came from. So there's a lot that really allows you to do a lot of cool stuff at that point.
Really helps you build your business, expand your, digital footprint, just knowing where you need to double down.
Yeah.
I'm a huge advocate of quantifying our efforts. And that's exactly what I hear you saying. And all of these different things that you've talked about are the spokes of the wheel that direct everyone to your website.
Absolutely agree. That's precisely it.
Do you have any other resources that you would recommend that people check out other than Google Analytics?
Well, so for advanced reporting, we have recently been using a tool called DataBox. We really like it. It's a great tool that integrates with a lot of different sources. So for instance, you can pull in your Google Analytics, your LinkedIn ad data, your LinkedIn organic data, your Facebook data, all of the different sources. If you're a Salesforce user, you can pull in your Salesforce data. You can pull in HubSpot data. It's really comprehensive, the number of connections it has, and it delivers up next level reporting. It's fabulous, and we are super excited to be using it. Yeah, we're using it with all of our clients.
Geek out about it.
Oh, I totally geek out. We love it. We're really enjoying it. It creates great dashboards. It has a lot of templates. So again, it makes getting in the game easier. When you are ready to see your universe in that sort of more complex view, I highly recommend it. It's not just an agency tool, it's an individual tool. It's worth it. And that's a great place to go.
Can you name it again?
Data Box.
Data Box. All right. Awesome.
Yep.
So Laura, I'm seeing that we are at the half an hour. I want to honor everyone's time. And I'd like to ask you one more quick question. Is there a question that I didn't ask you that you would have asked yourself?
Oh, gosh. No, I really think you've done a good job of covering some of these sources with me. I just highly recommend people take the time to learn about reporting and how, because I think it really does help you uncover your opportunities. And that's the thing that I think sometimes gets missed. Think about reporting from the beginning, not the end.
Ooh, that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, like start with reporting.
I'm really hearing it allows us to create more impact and more income when we look at the analytics and reporting. So awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Where can people find you? Where would you like for them to reach out if they have any questions?
You can
know more about you.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Lisa. You can find me on LinkedIn, Laura Breezy Hill on LinkedIn. And you can always find me on my website, Breezy Hill Marketing. And please come visit us on our blog. We have a really robust blog, and we're really active on LinkedIn. So find us there, and please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to answer any questions. And shout out to Kate for some nice feedback during this whole session.
Definitely. Thank you, Kate. She's always such a fan. I had a fun
Awesome.
time interviewing her as well. So thank you very much for sharing your expertise, your brilliance, and why we need to do those analytics and the reporting, which a lot of us kind of like keep putting off and putting in the back burner. So I appreciate you bringing it to the forefront and the importance of it. So next week, February 15th, February, I said this last time, April 15th, I'm doing a flashback. April 15th, I'm going to be interviewing Kathleen Burns Kingsbury, who is a wealth psychology expert, and she's going to be talking about women, power, and money. You will not want to miss this conversation. She is a dynamic speaker, lots and lots of information. So again, April 15th, Kathleen Burns Kingsbury. And thank you everyone for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. I want to just say to your success, whatever that success is for you, I wish it for you. Thanks so much, Laura. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks.